I am the greatest.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
You won't do shit. Just stick and move. And just waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my homeboy, Sam. And today we are scoring one of the most legendary fights in boxing history in Alexis Arguello versus Aaron the Hawk Pryor. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and shout out Kurt Morose. Him and I have gone back and forth about the legacy of Aaron Pryor and Alexis Arguello in our comment section. He's an early subscriber, so guys, go ahead and subscribe. And we could get you guys' comments going and making them into episodes. Yeah. So Kurt Morose, this is for you guys, for you and every other boxing fan out there. So before we actually show our cards, what is your memory of these two boxers, brother? Talk to me.
Yeah, what I recall prior to this fight is watching the highlight and watching him when Arguello knocked out Boom Boom Mancini and made a big, splashing into the scene as this beautiful, boxing style that he has. I mean, dude, gorgeous. It was, how do you say it? Textbook, bro.
Oh, dude.
Textbook style boxing. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Pryor, dude. I mean, the guy was you know what Aaron Pryor is to me? What I'm looking at right now?
Talk to me.
Aaron Pryor to me was a Mike Tyson, Gervonta Davis mix.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying? But he was, the guy was lethal the guy was all over. He didn't give you any time to breathe, man. The guy was just, dude, I mean, he was a sensational fighter, bro.
Aaron Pryor, this might be sacrilege on who, because you're talking about comparisons, who he reminded me of.
Yeah.
He kind of reminded me of an orthodox Joe Frazier, bro. That relentless style, just keeps on coming no matter what. You trade with him, it doesn't bother him. He doesn't wilt, even though he did get wilted a few times in this fight, and he just keeps coming. He's like a nonstop machine. He also kind of reminded me of Hagler to the point where, just the same plopping speed style. I know that kind of doesn't make sense a little bit, but I just think that when I saw Pryor fight, seeing this fight, I hadn't seen this fight in a couple of years, that it just reminded me of Marvin Hagler to the point where, man, imagine if they didn't have that weight disparity, and Pryor, if they could have met somewhere in the middle, if Hagler would have decided to come down to 154 at super welterweight, and they could have met somewhere there, that would have been an interesting fight for me. But that's not the conversation for today. So what about Alexis Arguello? What are your memories of him?
I mean, just, his length, bro, his defense. I mean, the guy was focused, laser focused. I mean, the guy put on a clinic with a lot of fighters.
He did.
He's just a beautiful style of boxing, man. I mean, the guy was all around. He had all the skills. You know what I mean? But there was something in this fight that we'll get to that he could not stop.
Here's something about Alexis Arguello for me. He was probably, I think I heard between him and Pepino Cuevas growing up, and of course Chavez, Alexis Arguello's name was like a household name to me. And he was one of the very few boxers for Nicaragua who crossed over his appeal and his style, crossed over to Mexican fight fans.
Yeah.
And he was like one of the first, I brought this up on an earlier episode. He was one of the first boxers where another Latino culture was brought into the Mexican fandom. Like, we wanted to claim him so badly, but he was proud Nicaraguan as he wore those blue trunks time and time again. But for Alexis Arguello, man, you hit it right on the nail. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous counter puncher if I've ever seen one. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing him in this bout and seeing his fights like with Boom Boom Mancini and such, it just goes to show you, like, keeping that discipline, what it does in a fight. He was fighting a younger, a more fresh boxer in Pryor, and Alexis Arguello never deviated from the game plan, and he was beyond effective in that fight. So let's go ahead and show our cards here. And all right, let me get it up here. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. Okay. Hey guys, Trey here. If you love today's controversial episode and you want to see our channel grow, please drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. Sam and I are always going back and forth with those commenters on our controversial topics and opinions, and we love it so much. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, most importantly, so our channel can grow and we can give you guys the best content as possible. Sam and I were always uploading multiple videos a week, and we want to continue doing that, and we need your help. So go ahead and subscribe, guys. And most importantly, like I always say, don't forget to stick and move, baby. So I see here that you had, before the knockout, you had Pryor winning by 2 rounds, 125, 123, while I had it the opposite of Alexis Arguello winning 124 to 123. Before we break down the overall analysis, I know you got something to say about this fight, as we all do. This fight is going to live in the lore of boxing. Go ahead and talk to me about that before we score this fight round by round.
It was hard for me to actually score this fight after what I heard in the second, after the bell in the second round before the third, I think it was, when Aaron Pryor's coach, the whole famous thing about the mixed drink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was tough for me to score, but I had to do it. I had to score the fight like if nothing ever happened, and and we went on. Yeah. And there was a lot of things that I saw in the fight that kept a lot of people thinking, how the hell does Pryor still be swinging after those shots?
I'll say this for me. I remember I hadn't seen this fight in about, I'll be honest, about 10 years. I remember my dad always talking about Alexis Arguello, like I said, and we finally found it on YouTube. We watched it, and it's been over 10 years since then. Besides that, I watched this fight in a different perspective. I didn't have any sound on, and yes, in the back of my head, it was looming that 14th round. But you know what else was holding me back a little bit? Because social media, it has a huge megaphone. The TV personalities, the boxing personalities, they have such a big megaphone, and they always talk about how Aaron Pryor dominated Alexis Arguello. More so the second fight, than the first fight. But they tend to always say that Arguello was just 2 or 3 notches below him, and I kept that in my head when I started this fight. I was like, I don't really know we should watch this fight, but people like Kurt Morose and other people that follow us are always mentioning this fight. And I was thinking like, okay, well, let's do it for these guys. Let's, you and I always commit to our subscribers to what they suggest to us. So when I was watching that fight, that was my frame of mind, that this was going to be one of those 10-5 kind of fights, when in reality, I was shocked. I don't remember watching this 10 years ago thinking that it was such a closer fight. I mean, and I had Arguello winning going into that famous 14th round. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I, of course. I had the same thing looming, about all that because of, everything that happened after the second round. But I couldn't help but, dude, these were the 2 best in their division, man.
Right.
And I knew it was going to be a classic fight because of what Pryor has done and because of what Alexis has done. But I hadn't seen this fight in ages. And just like you, I saw it on YouTube, and I grew up listening to the whole Aaron Pryor, Alexis Arguello names in my house. But I had Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor edging the fight before the knockout.
Well, look, so let's go ahead and break it down. We'll go because it was a 15-round fight. We'll break it down by every 5 rounds. So you had both, and you had the same card as you and I going into the first 5 even. You had Arguello with 48 points, and I had Arguello with 48 points. Go ahead and tell me, what did you see in those early rounds?
Well, look, in the first round, Aaron Pryor came in dominated.
Right.
Aaron Pryor, the Hawk, bro. There was nothing. There was nothing that Arguello, he could not stop that right hand, bro. He couldn't stop it. Aaron Pryor, when he threw it, he landed, and he will land in combos. This is the best case scenario, guys, when they say his offense is his defense. And Aaron Pryor would not stop punching through the whole fight. He dominated. He got caught in the second round with a punch. But it was not to the point where I believe, at least, that he got hurt. And that's when things turned around after that drink. But other than that, for me at least, those Aaron Pryor dominated.
Here's what I saw early on in those rounds. You said it. It started off like electric. It was like a precursor to Hearns and Hagler. They just started going at each other from the first opening bell, and that's been Pryor's style throughout his career leading up to that point. Arguello would weather that storm with his masterful technique, his long, straight jab, even connecting close on that 145-minute round into the round, in that first round. Pryor connecting where Alexis Arguello would land that right jab, and Pryor would wobble. You know what I'm saying? Going into that second round, I saw the same thing. Pryor just coming out with that speed. That, to me, it was predictable. I was actually counting his steps when he would go lead down, and then come up with the 2-piece or 3-piece combo. You could kind of time it a little bit. And for Alexis Arguello, he would catch him late in those rounds in the early part of the fight, if you ever noticed that. Not to mention what I liked about Arguello into the first 2 rounds, just like me, I had him both Arguello losing those first 2 rounds. Alexis was timing the speed. I don't think he was used to it, and he kind of may have stole those 2 rounds, but I gave the activity to Pryor, not to mention the effectiveness that Aaron Pryor was going into it. Those last 3 rounds right there, it became more of, I started to question the last from 3 to 5 rounds. Let me ask you this. Was Aaron Pryor's jabs, were they as effective as Arguello's jabs going to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round?
No, I don't think so. But I don't think so. But the thing is, they're not going to base this victory. They're not going to base this fight on power punches.
Yeah,
they're gonna base it on activity and punches landed.
Right.
Look, man. I'm a huge Arguello fan, huge Aaron Pryor fan. Bro, Arguello could not stop the punches coming in. For me, what I saw was Aaron Pryor landing all the shots at will whenever he wanted. Who had more power? Arguello had more power, in my opinion. But it was so every time Arguello would land a huge shot, he would fold Aaron Pryor. He would fold him.
Yeah, he did.
But what got me so frustrated is that even Sugar Ray Leonard said, he goes, Arguello is just standing there, erect, right in front of Pryor. You know what I'm saying? He's not sticking, moving around, using the whole ring. He was literally just standing in front of Pryor, bro. You know, so I blame some of this on the coaches. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's what I saw, because in that 5th round, okay, at the closing, Alexis Arguello, he gives that great right cross with like a minute left. And I think that set the tone for the rest of the middle part of the fight, which is what I want to get into. You and I, for me, I literally have it 9-10, 10-9, 9-10, 10-9, where Arguello won one round and then he lost the second one, the third, the seventh, and then the eighth. Like they alternated 5 through 10. You had that similarly as well. It kind of figured out, it kind of looked like to me that Arguello was now starting to figure out the speed and the timing of Aaron Pryor, because you're right, bro. For me, when I saw this, and especially in those middle rounds, especially after I think Pryor got hurt in that 5th round when Arguello hit him with that right cross or the right stiff jab, and because if you see him in that 6th round, that's when he starts dancing a little bit. That's when he starts sticking and moving a little bit, like he's trying to create more space. And I think for me, at least, that's where Alexis Arguello was able to regain himself. Aaron Pryor was to regain himself a little bit, and they were just switching off back and forth. It became more of an even fight going to that middle part of the rounds there. Talk to me, bro.
Yeah, no, this is my take on it. I think that Alexis Arguello was becoming numb to the punches. He was getting brutalized. He was getting hit. Aaron Pryor, everything he threw, he landed, bro. Whenever he wanted, he landed. But he was taking more risk, and every time he took a risk. Alexis Arguello would take advantage of it, and he would pick his punches perfectly, but he was taking a lot of shots to give one. Even though Alexis Arguello had the bigger power shot, I mean, dude, Alexis Arguello was taking way too much punishment, in my opinion, and he was getting braver and braver because he realized that his strategy. Yeah, he could take a punch, but dude, it was. Do you know did you see the way the ref rubbed his thumb on Arguello's?
I saw that. Yeah, I definitely saw that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That was weird.
Let me ask you this: do you
go ahead.
remember in that? I think it was the 8th round, and it was like you talked about how Arguello was stiff.
Yeah.
In that there was a moment in that 8th round where it looked like the fight stopped for a split second, and Pryor literally sticks his thumb out and pushes Arguello's little knot underneath his eye. Did you see that?
Wow, no, I didn't see that.
I had to watch that 2 or 3 times. He actually thumbs him, and Arguello just continues jabbing, and I don't know. It was an interesting back and forth rounds, because I think Aaron Pryor got hurt so badly in that 5th round that he could have, in my opinion, stolen the middle more of that fight, where he could have won 2 or 3 consecutive rounds. That he started just peppering, he started sticking and moving, like I just said, and going into that thumbing part of the fight. I'll put that highlight on the video for sure. It's a dirty tactic. I don't know if it was just like a moment in time where two fighters were synergy was just paused for a second, but something happened. I don't know what it was, but it was so. I'll put it this way: it was so blatant. I'm surprised the ref didn't take a point off or give a warning.
The ref warned Panama Lewis for coaching.
Right. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I just thought that Aaron Pryor, I think he was coming on a little too late on the rounds that I felt Arguello was winning in that middle portion of the round. But I fell in love with the artistry of Alexis Arguello in this fight. I can only imagine if he was a younger boxer when he was tearing up the division, moving up from what was it, featherweight all the way to welterweight. I can only imagine uh, how much better he would have been if the fight would have taken a few years prior. Pun intended. So you have any finishing thoughts on those middle rounds of the fight?
It's I think that the fact that Alexis Arguello was being numb to all the pain in the shots, it was still. I mean, the guy was fighting with all he had, bro. I mean, he was still landing shots. He would land a shot, bro, that pretty much was the punch of the whole round, and that's why he would probably get a round or two from me. You know what I mean? But me was just as the same old Pryor, landing any shot he wanted.
Let's do the last fight, and then we'll talk about some hot topics about this fight because let's face it, that in between bout was very important. 13 and 14. You and I had the same card going to 10, 11, 12, 13th round. You and I scored Pryor winning the 10th, losing the 11th, winning the 10th. Like, there you go again, both alternating the rounds. And then you had a tie of the 13th round for both. I had Alexis Arguello winning that last final round. Before that final round, because you and I had the same card, what did you see in that later part of the fight?
In the later part of the fight, it was Aaron Pryor was just like I was just watching and thinking to myself, damn, Aaron Pryor is just peppering him. They might not be much power or anything like that, like the shots of Arguello, but he was peppering them, dude. The punches were going in, and I'm not going to give Arguello a round for landing one big shot or even two when Aaron Pryor has already landed 30. There was a moment. I think it was in the 13th round, 12 or 13th round. I don't remember. Help me out with this. But when Arguello was landing body shots now.
Yeah, I have that right here.
And it was changing the tone.
That's what I'm saying. Let me see here.
But I just think he got peppered too much by Aaron Pryor.
Well, I think I had that actually in the 11th round, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Alexis Arguello connecting our counter jabs beautifully, man. And, there was an all-time great right cross that Alexis Arguello does in that round that I'm surprised Aaron Pryor was able to stand up to. I think that would knock out most boxers, especially at that time. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Talk to me about, because it looked like to me in that 13th round, you had it tied 10-10. Aaron Pryor runs to the middle of the ring, and leading up to that mega controversial moment, that 13th round, it became a phone booth fight. I kind of felt that Aaron Pryor had a feeling that the fight was a little bit more even, and he knew to try to steal this fight in the later part of the rounds. It wouldn't be to like a minute 30 left where Aaron Pryor would finally, in my opinion, yes, I agree with you. He was peppering, getting almost every shot he wanted. But too far and in between did I see an effective punch where Aaron Pryor just, hammered Alexis Arguello. And in that 13th round, he got one. And I'm like, wow, now that's a shot right there. I didn't really see that much versus I saw it more with Alexis Arguello. Yes, were they far and in between Arguello? Yes, they were. But I think there was a little bit more consistent versus Aaron Pryor. Want to give your thoughts on that 13th round?
Look, Panama Lewis.
You had it 10-10, that 13th round.
Yeah, 13th round. Panama Lewis told him, you got to win the last two rounds. That's what made look, let me tell you. Look, despite that controversy with this drink, right, after the second round, the controversy with that drink, the mixed drink, I have to hand it for Panama Lewis for being such a great coach in the corner for Aaron Pryor, bro.
Right.
And
well, he's one of the all times,
Yeah,
controversy or not.
He pretty much, was telling Aaron Pryor not to take the foot off the gas. You got to stay on him. You got to win these last 2 rounds. And the problem with Alexis Arguello is those body shots came into the fight way too late. That's why I blamed, in my opinion, just me, I'm nobody, but in my opinion, I thought to myself, because I see it in the past 20 years now, that when you fight a puncher, you have to attack the body.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of pro fighters today learned a lot about learned a lot about boxing with this match. Alexis Arguello should have attacked the body since the opening bell, man. Since the opening bell, he should have attacked the body. Why? Because I saw that when he started using the body shots in the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th round, I don't remember. There was a moment he was starting to throw multiple shots to the body that backed up. Yeah, backed up Aaron Pryor.
I agree.
Caught Aaron Pryor. So, I mean, he came on strong. Panama Lewis coached Aaron Pryor right and told him, you know what? You're going to have to win the last 2 rounds to win this fight.
Listen, going into that 13th round, I think for Aaron Pryor, you're right. He had to end this fast. And I honestly think that Pryor went into that 13th round. I'm gonna have to fight the fight that I don't want to fight, and he got into that phone booth with Alexis Arguello. But you know what? To answer your question, that was the time, man. That was the time where how do you fight somebody that's faster and more shiftier than you? You stay disciplined and you stick to the jab. That's what Alexis Arguello did. It wasn't until later on in the fight where now he started chopping at the body more often. And to be honest, he got those body shots as much as he wanted. He just didn't do it till much later in the rounds or in the fight where it wasn't as effective as much. If he would have been doing that from the beginning of the fight, I think we could have seen a totally different fight. I just think it was a testament of the time of those old Latino boxers where they're always mostly headhunting and they're staying stiff to the jab. So let's talk about the water bottle controversy. Talk to me, bro.
Yeah, I think that definitely gave. I mean, what are the facts about it? Do we know the facts? Anything about the water bottle controversy? What was it?
Gotta win the round.
Whack, batting practice.
Gotta win these 2 rounds.
Where Aaron Pryor gets that reservoir of strength and spirit, it just seems as deep as the Ohio.
Give me another thing. Give me another bottle. The one I mix.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, I mean, there was Resto who would come out and say later that it was, these pills that were crushed that expanded lung capacity. Supposedly, you take a swish of that, and your lungs expand, and now you have a second breath, or you're re-energized, and that's why Aaron Pryor was able to, take out.
Then I can't give him the victory. Then he cheated.
Yeah.
Come on, he cheated. Are we seriously gonna give him a pass? No.
Here's why I would say I'm okay with your assessment there. I didn't see any power that was hurting Alexis Arguello at all.
No.
There were times, like you said, Pryor got every single punch he wanted, and Alexis Arguello, especially in those middle rounds to the late rounds, he was pushing the tempo of the fight. He was going forward, and to me, dictating, because I think Aaron Pryor, like I said, in those middle rounds, was hurt. I think he was starting to stick and move, and Alexis Arguello was moving forward. I don't know where that power punch came from in that 13th round, where all of a sudden, in that 14th round, and all of a sudden Arguello's hurt, because I think there was parts in the middle of that fight where Pryor hit him with something more clean that didn't even budge him. And all of a sudden, Alexis Arguello's literally on the ground, dying for air. So I'm with you in that fight. So let's talk about some random questions, because, this is a barbershop style kind of conversation. Let me see here. In your opinion, how would this fight look? Because Alexis Arguello was a journeyman. You know, he already fought. I mean, he was already into his 60th fight by this time. You know, he already fought, you know, way much longer than Aaron Pryor at this time. How would have Aaron Pryor have done against Alexis Arguello maybe 5 years earlier? You think this fight would have been different?
As long as he has the same coach, it would have been the same thing.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
I mean, if it's cheating, it's cheating. Think about it.
No. But I'm yeah, okay. But like I'm saying, when Alexis Arguello was, you know, fighting Boom Boom Mancini or Navarrete, Elizondo, who was it? Ruben Castillo. Remember, I think he was undefeated.
Yeah.
And he just went through all of them. There was also Edwards that he just ran right through. I mean, that was an Arguello that was crossing over into the limelight. You know, he was, you know, different cultures were embracing him because of his beautiful Baryshnikov style, where he was able to turn boxers that would put him in the corner of the ropes and just turn them around so swiftly with that beautiful counter jab. I think if they would have fought 3 or 4 years earlier, I think Arguello would have finished this fight, leading to maybe a draw. Maybe he even gets the point. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Look. You have your opinion. I got mine, bro.
Of course.
Is same trainers 6 years ago. Arguello, same trainer for Aaron Pryor 6 years ago. The result's going to be the same.
All right. So we will leave it at that. You know what? One more question. How would Salvador Sanchez have done against Aaron Pryor? You know, he was a class, I think 2 classes below. But Sanchez, his plans was to go up, and you know, I think he was supposed to fight up Arguello at one point. I think they had it. You know, and he was eventually, in about 2 to 3 years, when this fight was about to happen, he was trying to make his way up to that class. Talk to me.
I got in a 15-round fight. I got unanimous decision or even a split decision. Salvador Sanchez. Salvador Sanchez can use the ring. He's a more lateral boxer. Yeah. He would have gone to the body a long time ago, and I think he packs more punch.
Exactly. I was going to say that with Salvador Sanchez, I honestly think the difference between him and Arguello, if they did fight each other, I think that fight would go the distance. But Salvador Sanchez against Aaron Pryor, if Pryor was struggling with the stiff jab that Arguello had, Salvador Sanchez had a way, in my opinion, stronger punch. And I think he would have, the times early on in that fight, especially in that first round, where Arguello wobbled Pryor, I think Sanchez would have capitalized on it. I think there were times in the Arguello Pryor fight where Arguello let him off the hook, you know, where he was landing those combinations, and for some reason he just stopped. And I think Sanchez would have been relentless, and Pryor, I think he would have won that fight easily, maybe even a knockout. So we'll finish it on that one. Do you have any final words for our subscribers? Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing about the whole Arguello comparison to Sanchez. Look, bro. Alexis Arguello, beautiful combo fighter, discipline, great stamina, great chin,
gorgeous.
But he was, I'm gonna probably get, you know, but he was a punching bag, bro.
Right.
That dude stays in front of Aaron Pryor. You cannot. That's why I have Salvador Sanchez being a more better equipped, a better opponent for Aaron Pryor. Because Sanchez bounces and uses the whole ring. That's it. I mean, Arguello has a beautiful boxer, bro, but it's like Sugar Ray said. He's just standing there. He's just standing in front of Pryor. He's just standing there.
I agree with you. All right, so let's go ahead and leave it at that. Do you have any final words for our subscribers out there?
Yes, thank you, guys. I've been trying to reach out to some guys, responding to some comments, and I'm trying to keep up with everybody. Thank you, guys, for subscribing, watching our channel. Please share so we can continue growing. And if there's any other fights y'all want us to talk about, that y'all want us to cover, then we'll do an episode on it.
Absolutely. We'll leave it at that. Couldn't say it any better. Until next time, guys, if you get a message from me, I am Trey at the Stick and Move Podcast. Sam is Stick and Move Sam 75. And like I always like to say, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest.